On this hunt, I'm at Oakmulgee Management Area with a bow and arrow on the day of a gun deer hunt. I'm slip hunting up to an area that I think I want to hunt. I'm actually scouting my way in there, but I'm walking and slip hunting with a purpose. I'm not just stomping through the woods making a lot of noise. I'm moving really slow, and I hear activity on the other side of the ridge opposite from where I'm at. I got the wind in my favor. I top the ridge. I get my binos out. I'm looking around, and there's a buck chasing a doe that apparently is in heat. So I slip up on the ground to a blow down tree, and I'm leaned up behind the root ball on this tree. The doe is 20 yards to my left at this moment. She senses something's not right. I had made a grunt to try to stop the doe, which was a mistake on my part, thinking I could call her over to me, bringing the buck to me. Well, now she's looking, she can't see anything, so now obviously she's locked up, and so is he. He's lip curling, trying to figure out what her next move is going to be. While he's doing that, there's actually two other bucks slipping up from my right. Another really nice 8-point buck that I'm looking at, but I'm also filming this deer, so you see the camera kind of getting a little jerky because I'm trying to do two things once: film the deer, hold the camera steady, and use the binos to look at the other deer. A lot of action going on right here. It's getting pretty intense on my part. This deer is actually within bow range for me. I can make this shot, but I do not like that limb and where it's positioned. I am not going to take a shot on a deer like this that's not open and a clean shot. In my mind, I think he's going to continue following this doe. He's going to end up 20 yards to my left. I'm going to draw my bow back, stand up, and shoot over this root ball, killing this deer. All this is playing out in my head, but it don't always work the way you want it to work out. If you listen close, you can start hearing that doe starting to snort, and now she's got everybody on alert. Now I believe she's snorting because she can't find the deer that she thought she heard. She's got these bucks on her tail. Who knows why she's snorting in reality, but I know for one thing she can't smell me. And she doesn't know I'm in the world because she's not even looked my direction. And this buck, he is staring dead at her, not taking his eyes off. He wants to know what her next move is before he makes his move. I don't know if that's what they mean by the lockdown or not, but this buck's definitely locked down. I figure since I don't have a shot on him with that limb in the way, I'll zoom in on him and see if I can't get a better picture of that rack. In my eyes, this is definitely a shooter buck on public land with a bow and arrow. I'm not going to turn this deer down. I've let deer walk on public lands before, but not Not of this caliber. This is a good buck right here for Oakmulgee management area. I think just about anybody would take this buck. There may be a few guys out there that would let it walk, but I'm not going to with a bow. I'm just going to tell you flat out, this is a shooter buck in my eyes. Now I'm going to cut a little bit of this out because this video footage actually is 18 minutes long of this buck deer standing here. And they're both locked down, they ain't going nowhere. So I'm going to get on to some of the good stuff here. Now you can see that little buck working his way in the top right of the frame. The bigger buck's kind of got his eye on him. This little buck getting a little bit impatient. That's the difference between a little buck and a more mature buck. Mature bucks don't take chances. That little buck getting a little too close to him caused him to do a snort wheeze. I think that bigger buck's getting a little bit aggravated at that smaller buck. There's an 8-point to my right, and he's a little bit in position to where if I move to try to get him on film, I could get busted. So I'm not ever going to turn the camcorder that direction. I'm going to keep it on this buck here, the one that I'm interested in. You guys just have to take my word on it that there's a nice 8-point directly to my right. Now, I've been sitting on these old knees for a while. I'm starting to get cramped up here. I'm worried about whether or not am I going to be able to even stand. He's looking at that 8-point right there, by the way. That 8-point's trying to make a move in on him. And at this point, he looks dead at me. I'm like, I know good and well you can't see me. But I thought for sure that maybe he spotted something right at that moment. It's the first time he actually looked dead at me. So he's licking that nose and worried about that doe, man. That doe is intent on trying to figure out what's going on, because these big old does, sometimes I believe they're smarter than these bucks. And she just knows something ain't right. She got them all locked down. You can see that little buck is getting really impatient. And then that makes the doe get a little more nervous. And thank goodness for that little buck, because there's no telling how long everybody would have stood here if it hadn't been for him making the decision to push. And that bigger buck, he's not going to let that little buck get close to his doe. I'm getting ready right here, but I'm thinking, okay, it's going to happen. Let's make this happen. He's going to come up here. I'm going to get a 20-yard shot. I'm going to stand up over this root ball. I'm watching him. I know y'all can't see him on film, but he's coming up through there. I got to do this slow, methodical. I got to do it with intent, because I still got an 8-point over to my right in the thicket. Now, he's got his eye on that doe and that other buck right now, and he's not watching me. So there's a lot going on right here besides me just trying to raise up over a root ball and make a shot. Just so you guys know, my old heart's pumping right now. Well, just when I decided to stand up and try to make the draw, that old buck kind of turned. The doe trotted down the hill. He kind of turned away from me, giving me a bad angle. I'm like, all right, you gonna do anything? Give me a shot, man. I don't like this shot angle right here. Turn, do something, dude. Guys, I'm at full draw right here on this buck. I cut out the shaky footage of me yanking that bow back real quick, but I'm holding my draw. I'm hoping that he'll turn, do something, give me a shot. This is a shot I'll take if I can just get a better angle. But it never does happen. I decide I can't hold the bow back no longer, and I'm going to ease it back down. I cut the footage off. As soon as I do that, he takes off chasing after the doe, and he's out of my life. But I cut it right here. As soon as that buck chased her over the ridge and got out of my sight, I slipped over there and got up in a tree right where that doe had walked past. I figured I could get settled down and maybe another buck would probably follow along behind her, scent checking that trail. Sometimes you might even kill the bigger buck that way. He usually comes up the rear. I've had him come in 2 hours later. Started videoing this doe and had a couple of does come in there milling around. It wasn't too long. I could hear a buck slipping up behind me. Finally got around, and there he is. I said, all right, it's turned out to be a pretty good day. I think I might can make this happen. It's been about an hour, hour and a half since I saw that last buck, and they ain't coming back my direction, so I've decided I'm going to shoot this in here. I'm watching him right here, trying to decide, I guess, if he's going to come a little closer or what's on his mind. I got the wind in my favor. I'm not in no rush. I'm going to take my time. I don't really like the shot angle at this point, so we're just going to watch him and kind of see what his intentions are. I'm like, okay, I believe I can get that shot. Got my deer. Alright, let me tell you the story. I've seen 3 bucks chasing a doe in here this morning. I come walking in here and basically spotted these deer chasing and got down on one knee and videoed them for a while. My battery's getting low, so I'm gonna have to hurry up. But I am not believing I made this happen. I sat there and I watched the deer for quite a while, videoing them on the ground. Had deer to my left, deer to my right, deer in front of me, grunting, chasing, carrying on. I let them get over here on this ridge, and as soon as they got out of sight, I went right over there where the doe was on that scent trail, and I climbed one of these scaly bark pine trees, making all kind of racket, trying to be quiet. Didn't think I was going to get by with it because this is wide open woods in here. You can see for 300 yards all the way around. I got no cover. I'm in a big, giant, tall, big pine tree, but it wasn't skinny, thank goodness. And this one come up behind me. The does were out in front of me. They came back, started feeding around. I had grunted a few times and called the does back over here, and he come easing up behind me. I could hear him behind me, but I didn't want to move. I knew he was pretty close, and I actually let him come around the side before I got a glance at him. Made a good shot. He run about 80 yards. I heard him crash. Now I got to get him out of here. Good hunt. I ain't believing I made this happen. Hunting on the ground, climbed a tree,
and still killed a buck this morning. In wide open woods with a bow, no less, on the day of a gun deer hunt. I'm at Oakmulgee Management area on a gun deer hunt. I decided to bring the bow, so not a bad deer. About even with the ears, a little outside. Good deer. I was sitting right up on that ridge up there. You could see how open these woods are where these deer were chasing. There's a lot of low brows, but when you get up in a tree 10 foot high, it is wide open. You could hear my voice echoing. I could see probably 300 yards around through here. You can see it's just wide open.